her friends hear her go 35 dates, and this is the one that made it. And they're like, made it? You guys are just fucking.
Hello, and welcome back to the U Up Podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Fried. It's so good to be back here with you, Jordana. How are you? Good to see you. We are deep in December right now.
We are deep in December. We are hot off of your amazing, amazing special recording.
Thank you.
We're recording it right the Tuesday after the special was taped. It was incredible.
Thank you.
Amazing show. Best comedy show I've ever seen.
That's way too kind. I mean, you're biased, but I appreciate it.
I mean, I don't know. I'm actually kind of a cynical bitch. I don't know if you've heard the show before. I'm quite the hater.
You are a hater.
you know.
Well, you wouldn't. I don't take you for someone that just says things to say things.
I do not. Yes.
It is a Betches and Jared Fried production. We're making this together. It was a beautiful night to anyone who came, or brought friends, or to anyone who's been to my shows over the last 2 years. Thank you, because it's a 2-year work in progress. That's how, stand-up doesn't it takes a lot of work and effort and going on stage and doing the jokes and working out the material. So anyone who's been to a show, thank you. And yeah, the night was great. It went as well as it could have gone, I think.
Same. I mean, I
Hot
really
crowd.
enjoyed it. It felt like your wedding. Only you get to have multiple weddings. You had your last special.
That's right.
This special. And it felt like your destination wedding because it was pretty far from my house.
Yes, we had to take a lot of people took a ride up to Sleepy Hollow, Tarrytown.
Yeah.
Definitely a spooky vibe town, but kind of felt like a cool place to live, I feel like.
For sure. I think people really like that town. And I've met people from there. It does feel like quaint.
The
lovely
area
town.
felt really good. I don't know. There was something nice.
Smells like a Christmas movie.
It really did.
Yeah.
It felt like Netflix murder documentary or a Christmas movie, one of the two, or a murder movie about Christmas.
Ooh, now we're getting creative.
Now we're tossing shit around. So thank you to everyone who came. No, it was, the show is good. That, I think that's part of the frustration, weirdly, is like I know it's a good set. I think it's deserving of
it will get its day to shine.
Yeah, to be seen.
Yes.
Because it was, the most proud part about it is, for me, it was all true stories of my family that you could share with your family and feel seen and related to.
Yes.
So it was a very warm, gratifying experience to do this material. And, as stand-up goes, you go to bed, you do the show Saturday night, you got a great set, and then you wake up Sunday morning, you got nothing. So now I'm going to go back on
to have nothing.
It's tough. You got to...
Off the heels of National Breakup Day.
That's right. On the heels of National Breakup Day, I have nothing, nobody, no one. I'm on the road working on material. Like, until it comes out, I have those arrows in my sheath, but I won't tell the story that I've been telling for 2 years anymore. I'm done.
What's your new set about?
I don't know. I think more dating.
Going back to dating?
I think a little bit more. I had some dating stuff in it, but I think I need to get more personal about dating and how I feel about it. And I don't want it to be like, there's a lot of dating material out there. Like, but
there's not that much good dating material out there.
It's all very similar. It's all very, dating after 30 is like going to the thrift store. It's like that type of stuff. I don't know. I think personal stories, I loved just how personal this last one was. And like, I think if I can find some relatable, stories about me.
Yes.
I'm not looking to like hammer. That's why I like the dating and after your 30s at the thrift store. It's like, well, you're at the thrift store too, fucker. Like, go fuck yourself.
Takes one to know one.
Right. So it's like, I think it's more about me and my issues and my mindset that it would be, I think, relatable to a lot of people.
Totally.
But
and I think if anyone you've dated that makes it into your stand-up show, I think super flattering.
Is it?
Yeah, especially if it gets on streaming.
Right.
Like, I'd be like, that annoying bitch you was talking about? Me.
That's you.
That's me. I'm famous now.
That's right. I'll make you famous, bitch.
Yeah.
Well, I think if this one got to streamers, if the one we just made, that I think that's going to be a big deal. I do think like this is the type of the special that was just made is like very original and fun, and
yes, it
can't be
needs,
repeated.
It needs to be shown to the world. It is that good. Everyone who's seen it just is in love with it.
Truly a pleasure to do. It is like, and my parents came, and my parents were. You didn't even see my parents.
I know. I missed your parents on your wedding day.
On my wedding,
even get to.
How are you? What's going
event.
on? Enough about my me and the and if you're listening out there, I'm in Batavia, Illinois, Phoenix, Arizona, and then Portland, Oregon, Montreal, just added to the calendar, and then I'm coming to New Zealand and Australia. So jaredfree.com. What's going on with you?
Love it. I had a great girls trip.
Yeah, how was the girls trip?
It was fantastic.
A weekday beach.
Yes.
Where did you go again?
We went to Anguilla.
Anguilla.
I asked the guy. We did a half day boat day, and I asked the guy how to pronounce it, and he said it's Anguilla, like vanilla. So I feel validated that I was correct.
What did you say? You said it was Anguilla before. I thought we were.
You said Anguilla.
Anguilla.
That's what you said.
I'm fine being wrong. I don't
said
think we
Anguilla.
were. I don't think you said Anguilla.
Yeah.
Really?
What do you think I said? Going Anguilla?
I've never heard it said Anguilla before until now. I thought we were getting a correction
in
for
my
both of us.
head for years. I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. That's okay.
The guy who's from
right.
there told me that.
No, I'm saying this is like finding out it's
Right.
bruschetta. You know, like this is like the
Life-changing.
original ruling.
I
Like,
feel like
people listening here, if you're listening here, you are now better for listening. You know it's Anguilla.
You're a person of the world now.
Right.
But it was funny because I asked the guy who drove the boat about it, and then I was asking him about dating.
In Anguilla?
He's born in Anguilla. There's like one high school.
Okay.
And everyone knows each other.
How do you
And
date?
he was like, it was so funny. He was like, it's like it is a thing. Like you kind of like, everyone, like there's 15,000 people on the whole island. And so everyone like in your grade is like the whole town.
Do you go to other like islands? Like do you island hop to date?
He wasn't saying that really, but he was saying that like, it's funny. Like when you bring someone home to meet your parents, like the first question is like, who are your parents? Like, let's make sure you're not cousins. 'Cause you'd have to imagine there's like, limited amount of people.
It is funny to think like, I don't know.
Do you need the apps? I wonder. Should have asked.
Well, I guess the app is like screaming out the window or something like that. It's funny because where does your brain go when you think of small town? I think of like cold weather,
right.
One house on the street, but you don't think of like an island being a small town.
Yeah,
you know?
the elementary school on the beach.
Right. That's so it was fun. It was a good trip.
Yeah, it was a great trip. Super relaxing. Great beaches, and I feel like Caribbean can be hit or miss in terms of beaches.
Your
These
pictures
beaches,
looked
amazing,
unbelievable.
Such clear water. I felt like I was in like, I don't know, like the Maldives or something. It was
looked
beautiful.
Unreal. Very jealous. Good tan. You're tanned.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
I've been waiting for someone to say something.
Finally,
about
I got
finally,
you. Don't worry. Production.
Saw you hours ago.
Yeah.
But who's thinking about that? But yeah, great trip. And I'm back, and I'm ready for the cold winter ahead.
It is. Well, to bring it back to relationships and dating, It feels like it's that season of a little bit fuck it, a little bit.
I mean, we are in the it's happening next. It's December 18th. So
we're there. It's fuck it season, and it's also there's a little bit of debauchery in the air. Mm-hmm. It feels like people are out and like getting a little loose. I had a situation that happened. I was leaving my apartment. And this woman walks in, and on the way in, she goes, "Do I know you?"
Is that my wife?
I go, and like it's hard for me.
It's a hard question to get. Do I know you? Because then you're like, oh, do I know them?
Do I know them? How cocky can I be? Like what? I don't want to seem like you might recognize me. You ever been on Netflix? Like you can't. Right. I'm in a little bit of a position.
You might know me from that show.
Yeah, you ever heard of the U Up podcast? You ever heard of Betches? This is my mom. My mom is your best PR person.
Yeah.
My mom goes around, you ever hear the Betches? That's what she always says to everyone.
Flattering. I love it.
Jordana! So she goes around singing your praises. But
well, what did you say to the woman who said, do I?
I go, I don't know. Like, because
what did she say?
And she goes, no, I've seen, how do I know you?
Okay.
And I go, I'm sorry. She goes, TikTok. I go, I have the app. And she goes, oh, I've seen your TikToks. And like, she kind of like,
okay.
like I kind of
You had
like
to watch her get there.
I
Yeah.
kind of had to. I don't know how else to play it. Like,
You should have said, no pictures, please. Please.
do not talk to me, you nothing. So I go, this is in the lobby of my building. And I go, well, thank you. I'm happy you enjoy my stuff. I always like do that. I don't need to hurt my own feelings.
Of course.
Like, that's the thing about this. Do I know you? And then you go, well, I'm a comedian. No, not that. You're my friend's cousin. You know,
Right,
and then I don't need that in my life. I don't need to, again, this having to deal with your own, like knowing too much. And I think this happens in the dating world is like the longer you're single, the more you're like, you've gone through, for people that marry their college sweetheart, they never questioned anything. They were right, minute one.
Well, there's nothing to question.
There's nothing to
think
question.
about. Yeah.
Right. You've done it and let's move on. No head trash. Like I have all this head trash is what I'm saying.
Oh, totally. I mean, that's like sort of the issue of being in a limbo of any situation. It's just like how much thought it takes up in your brain.
It's so much energy. So this woman, she goes, do I know you? I go, I don't know. And, finally she gets to the point. She goes, oh my God, TikTok. And then she goes, my friend lives in this building. And she goes, and literally says, she lives on this floor. And I go, I live on that floor too.
Right.
And she literally, and I go, well, that's very nice. Like, I don't know what else to say. And she goes, she's a nice single girl.
Oh, no. Okay.
This is, and I'm like, what am I supposed to say in this scenario? I'm not going to go, oh, to give her my number, please. Like I just go.
Show me a picture.
Right. What am I supposed to say? Like,
knock on her door. Have her come out, do a twirl.
That's what I want.
And then I'll let you know.
Let me see that fat ass.
No.
No, I shouldn't do that. That's the thing. I'm in this, like, again, and I think this happens to single people. You are in this unwinnable situation. I hate when someone's like, I got a single person for you.
Right.
Dangle,
Well, it's
dangle.
kind of like, I've got the solution to all. Listen.
Right, you
this
loser.
single thing, like, I'm going to solve it for you now. I've got a lady for you.
And you
As
have
if that was the only thing.
As if I couldn't find one on my own. I'm just here and single at 39. Yeah. I'm fucked up. You don't want this shit, is what I want to look at her and say, like, who do you think? Me? You saw my videos. Get the fuck out of here. So, and she says that I got a single friend. She's on your floor. I go, tell her, I go, you know how to find me. And that's what I said. And I left.
Okay.
2 hours later, 3 hours later, I get a message.
A DM
from the girl. So I get a message. Hey, I'm sorry about my friend.
Okay. Open profile?
No, private. Okay. But the
on
picture.
Your floor?
On my floor.
Okay.
Sorry about my friend. She's like my least online friend anyways. Signed apartment number. So I write, I was like, oh, no problem.
Stop smoking.
How about you shut the fuck up? You're a little loud at night.
So what'd you say?
7Q. Whatever it is. That's not the real one. Okay. So I wrote back in kind. Something, I don't usually take suggestions from crazies yelling at me in the lobby, but if you're down to get a drink, that'd be great. This is me being more positive, being more optimistic.
Jared, what is the matter with you? Why would you ask out someone on your floor? Have you learned nothing from the Divya episode?
To me, this is so rom-com that I was like, maybe this is like, open yourself up to it, was my thinking.
Okay. It just seems like...
I haven't told you the story yet. That's why I'm bringing it here.
Continue.
So that happens. She writes back, yup. And I go, well, here's my number. Shoot me a text. No text. So, okay, I kind of like, this is whatever. I wake up early today, because we did an early taping here. Mm-hmm. I woke up early.
10:30. It's early.
Early for some.
We were here at 5 a.m.
I was here at 4 a.m. with my hard hat on.
You got here at 10:20.
Well, I went.
Life's hard.
I went to Barry's class at 8:30 in the morning. Okay. I've been getting back into Barry's boot camp.
Right.
Shout out Barry's Boot Camp. I have my issues with Barry's Boot Camp as well. I can get into. No, I like Barry's Boot Camp. I'm a fan of their product.
Yes.
Okay, as far as a workout is
It's a
concerned.
good workout.
In, out, done. You don't think about
I hate
it.
running.
I hate running. Yeah. I've run more than I've ever run in the last like 3 years. I do. You see the value of running pretty quickly.
It's a good workout.
Yeah. So did the workout. So I was up early to go to that workout. 7 a.m. Okay, so it was pretty early. So on the way out of the building, a girl holds the door open for me. And she goes, "Oh," and I look at her and I'm like, and she goes, "It's me." And I go, "Oh my God, it's the girl from
It's from your floor,
from my floor." And I didn't recognize because I only have the one picture from
no makeup
again. And I look at her and we start talking, and I'm immediately turned off. Like immediately.
She lives on your floor. What if she's listening?
No, based on this conversation, I can tell you she ain't listening at all.
All right, so what'd she say?
She didn't follow me, which is fine. I'm not.
She didn't text you.
She didn't text me. So I'm like assuming maybe she just wasn't into it. That's fine. But then, hey, good to see you. I go, well, hey, how that's so funny that your friend recognized me. And she goes, that's my least social media friend. It's so weird. And she's like, I didn't know you were a social media guy. I just thought you were like a finance guy. And I go, okay, like, I don't know why you would think anything, you know, like I said, because we had met before. She's like, I met you way back when. I go, oh, I met you. I go, I remember meeting in a certain, on the elevator once. We exchanged words. She's cute. But then it became this thing of like, she's going, well, I don't know, you know, I just know that you're a social media guy. And like my account's open to be seen.
Right.
Like at this point, you've done your research, like which is okay. Like you can,
also, if her friend is her least online friend, why does her friend know more about you than she does?
Right, and which is fine. No one needs to know me. I think like because
I just think that's a weird.
It became a little weird right away. This like acknowledgement of like, and I know this is a me problem. And so she starts going, well, I didn't even know who you were. And I don't know anything. I don't know, you know, I'm not didn't know you were a social media person. And, you know, you're not even like the biggest person on our floor.
What?
And I go, well, I go, who else is on the floor? Like, to me, this is juicy conversation. Yeah. I would love to know. I go, is it an actress? Is it an actor? And she goes, no, you're going to have to find out. And I'm like,
what?
Like, and also like,
isn't it great you didn't have to like go on a full date to realize you we're not going to be interested in this person at all?
Well, this is my issue to make it more universal, because anyone could hear this and be like, oh, Jared, they didn't know who. I could see someone could hear this and go, Jared, they didn't know who you are, you fucking narcissist. You think everyone should know you. That's not what I'm saying at all.
That's not the issue.
It's just the taste of this conversation.
Like she's like negging you.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And it's like,
you're not even the biggest person on our floor.
Right. And I'm like, also, like, tell me who the person is. I would love to know.
Right.
And
so
also,
you could ask them out.
Right. And the idea
you're trying to climb here.
Right. Let me get away from me. I want to be with Misha Barton or whoever the fuck it is. You know, I don't know. I was like annoyed at this idea that like, first of all, that I'm a social media person. Like, I guess that's what you could think I am if you looked at it from not looking at what I do.
Right.
And then to like...
You ever search Netflix?
Right.
The search bar?
It's just it's a little demeaning, you know, like...
No, I agree.
Then it's also to be like, there's someone bigger than you, as if like that would like somehow like... you know, bring me down to earth. I don't care. That's not how I rank myself in life, is who has the biggest following on the floor.
I think people do that as like a defense mechanism of like, she's assuming that you think that like, that you're a too big of a star for her.
So this is my point. I walked away from that conversation having this conversation that you're saying with me right now with myself.
In your own head, yeah.
In my own head I'm going, I guess I'm not going to go out with her. That conversation didn't really make me feel that good. Jared, who are you? Why don't you feel good? What are you, a narcissist? Is this because you need her to like, you know, what kind of piece of shit are you that you need someone to like have any amount of respect for you? Like, and I'm like, well, but I would show respect for that person. I started thinking of other dates. I went on a date with a girl. She owned a restaurant. I was like so impressed by her. I was so impressed by the restaurant. And then she was like, yo, you and your little influencer friends. She's like made me, and I was like, this is like a repeat of that. And I'm like, maybe this is, and I kept going. I'm on this half-hour walk before I left a message for oversharing.
Right.
For those that don't know, I don't know if you'll play it.
I'll have to talk to. We could play it.
Well, if you play it, this is me jacked up.
Yeah.
Because now I'm listening to oversharing to try and calm down. Then you start talking about Taylor Swift, and I'm like, who the fuck does these people think they are? That they are owed?
Me and Naomi.
Well, it was less you and Naomi.
Me and Naomi. Who do we think we are?
You were saying we have the right opinion now. That bothered me.
What we were bothering?
You guys. It was you people.
Let it out.
Well, you guys, you said after the Taylor Swift thing was someone entered a contest, then they sold the tickets that they won in the contest.
Yes.
And then your initial response was, okay, I have the right opinion. I hope everyone's happy with my opinion now. I'm going back on
my original one from if you don't listen to oversharing, and you should,
you absolutely should.
We've gotten so many fucking emails about Taylor Swift dilemmas. Concert related ethical issues, whatever it is.
I think it's so funny, and it's also
the new COVID.
It is the new COVID.
Yeah, it's over. Thank God.
When you mentioned that I laughed so hard because you were like, "We have so many Taylor Swift dilemmas," and it's like Taylor Swift's the constant. Like it's just this is now the people around it. It's how do people react to the constant,
right?
Like she's just as much. She's COVID, as you said. She's Christmas. She's New Year's. She's that's breakups. Beware of Taylor Swift.
Yes,
like
for friendships. That is like beware of Taylor Swift. So a while ago, someone was mad that their friend bought tickets and then resold them instead of giving them to their two friends that wanted to go.
Right.
And I said it wasn't a big deal because they bought it with the intent, like this is like their business venture.
Right.
Fine. This one annoyed me more because the person entered the contest to get them for free and then sold them for $6,000 each.
I hear that. I think that difference is big.
To me, it's big. On my moral relativism scale, and everyone has their own, I think you should have to work harder. I think, because there's the thing, when you buy a ticket, there's an inherent risk in buying a ticket that you won't, if you're trying to resell it, that you won't get your money back.
Agreed. We are completely in
to me,
line.
it's like starting a business that's putting my own money into a business that winds up being successful and making millions of dollars. Love it. Me, my dad gives me like $6 million to start a business.
Right.
Less impressive.
Well, and then
you,
I guess to the game show aspect of it, like anyone could win those tickets. It's not like they were like 10 and under can only apply. So
right, they didn't break any rules. But I just think the idea of to me, the point of the contest is to give someone who can't afford to go to the concert a free ticket. That's the point of the contest. You could say that. You would imagine.
I don't know if that's what the contest. I don't think the contest is like, hey, this is for the the Boys and Girls Clubs, orphans, only, but I understand that perspective. I guess, I agree. And I guess my thing was Taylor Swift can also just give away 100 tickets a show to needy individuals.
Maybe she does. And that's why what the contest was for.
Well, then don't let anyone enter. I was so fired up. So I called the voicemail of oversharing to yell at the voicemail, but I was just dealing with my own insecurities. Do I deserve to feel put off by this conversation that I just had with this person that was going to be this that could have been this rom-com type of meeting.
Right. Well,
and that's kind of I think
this is you writing in with the trick. This is really you wrote in about you called in about Taylor Swift, but really what you should have called in is about this triggered situation.
Right.
And you were triggered by this woman saying, sort of demeaning in your eyes, what you do, sort of minimizing what you do, making it like you're just this guy on TikTok making annoying videos.
Right.
And that's who you are and what you do. And I think that that triggered you. And then also her not really respecting what you do seems to be a trigger of yours.
Well, that is also we also don't have to have that conversation. Do you know what I mean? I didn't go up to her and go, "Did you see how many followers I have on Instagram?"
Right.
That wasn't my opening. My opening was, "Hey, nice to meet you. It's so interesting. Your friend."
And that's why it's triggering.
Right.
Yeah.
And why did our conversation? It's triggering because why did our conversation go that way? It could have gone hey, nice to meet you. Finally, it's so funny that your friend said hello to me. I'm happy you said hi. You know, you have and I even said, you have my number.
Right.
Let me know. And then she was like, oh, I'm going upstate because I work upstate. And I go, I was just there on Saturday. I was in Tarrytown. And she gave like a knowing nod because like, obviously I've been posting about Tarrytown,
Right.
you know, like, and it's like, I don't know.
Do you think that, but like most triggers that come from some sort of insecurity, right? Like if you were the most famous comedian in the entire world and someone said that to you, would it still bother you?
I guess it would bother me that like we couldn't just have a normal conversation. I think it's more bothersome of that. Like not knowing me, more people don't know me than know me. Like I don't live in a world
sure.
But I'm just saying like it is no surprise of mine to me that someone has no reference to me whatsoever.
It's not even just not knowing you. It's like kind of like diminishing what you do.
Well, the thing is, you don't even have to say the extra sentence.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
You could have just stopped
You could have just stopped there.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
we could have just had this nice meeting. You know, like
That's what I'm saying. She kept going for her, I think.
right. I agree with that. Like even after the show, after the taping, someone came up to me and they go, my dad and mom were next to me. And we were outside the theater, and this woman comes up and goes, I hope you don't, I need to tell you this. I need to tell you this. And my dad and mom were like, what the hell is this?
Let's find out.
She goes, I need to tell you this. And she goes, I hope you don't mind. I hope you don't mind and I tell you this. And I'm like, just, you know, gearing up to feel horrible about myself after this huge taping we just did. And she's like, I didn't know who you were before this. I had no idea. No idea in the world. Had no idea who you were, but you made a new fan tonight. And I was like, oh, I was like, thank God. Like, oh,
Do you like hearing that?
I don't need the
just say
just
right.
say
you
I had a great time.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm my friend brought me, and this is.
I guess they're trying to show you that they're like, because it's almost harder to break into a new thing, right?
So I get it. It's all their problem to say it that way. Even my parents, when the woman left, she left with her, you know, her friends who knew us or whatever. My parents were like, what was that? Like my parents will always choose the side against me.
Okay.
They would always be like, you're sensitive. And my dad was like, what was that? And I go, the worst words a comedian could ever hear is, I hope you don't mind me telling you this after a show.
Well, again, that's for that woman too.
Right.
It's to like tell her, you know, she thinks she's giving you the ultimate compliment.
Right.
Like everyone thinks that everyone's the star of their own show.
Totally.
So she's like, oh, I had never heard of this. Like she's thinking of her own story. I have never heard of this person, and this was so incredible. How have I never heard of this person? I must tell him that like it's so crazy that he's so good that I've never heard of him.
I know. I have a lot of empathy.
I felt that way about Chapel Roan. Look who I've discovered.
I have to tell you something.
DM. I had never heard of you before, but you're incredible.
I didn't think anything of you. Nothing. I don't even like music. You know, they all say that.
Right.
I don't know. To go back to this scenario, I walked away being like, I don't know. I was thinking about like just dating and like how hard it is to just get out of your own way and how this conversation, would I push through if they texted me? Because that's where
Would you actually go out?
Would I go out now? Based on this conversation that went like medium and kind of annoyed me. And I was thinking, and it's weird, like your wheels start turning and you don't like them to. When you get upset, you don't want the wheels to turn, but they do.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was like, this girl, you know, young, but like appropriately aged. Like, you know, like this isn't like, I wasn't being introduced to a girl out of college. Like it was like, you know, her
30s?
her friend from the suburbs who's probably married with kids is thinking of setting her up at every fucking turn, that the minute she half recognizes a guy from TikTok, she's like, you gotta meet my friend. That's how single she is.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? In the same way, I'm that single.
Okay.
So I'm like sitting there going like, is that, you know, are we all just fucked? Do you know what I mean? Like, am I fucked for overthinking this? Is she fucked for that's how she talks to people about how they do their work? And this isn't just her. This has happened a few times in dates where like I am very aware of like, maybe I'm too aware. Maybe I'm too aware to like be complimentary of someone's career, especially a young woman who's like killing it in New York. I'm super impressed by that.
Right.
Like I think that is so hot.
What do you mean you're too aware?
maybe I'm too aware to like, I'm trying to compliment that person on that because I would think that they're proud of that.
Right.
But maybe I'm doing that too much. Maybe I'm trying to manipulate. I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, but I'm just now, again, you're watching me.
You're saying, you're kind of like, am I the problem?
Am I the problem that I'm like, but then are these women meeting men who aren't that way? And they're so like, they're meeting all these cocky dudes who want to tell them how great they are at what they do. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to like take it out on me. You know, just trying to deflate my balloon that they think is so inflated. I don't know.
The woman with the restaurant?
Yeah. It was very
so now we're getting into the other.
I'm saying they're both were in the similar talking points.
Yeah.
It was the similar, like,
well, let me ask.
Taste, you know? Like,
what?
Like, if I met you on a date, I would go, bitches, fucking insane. Like, I would be like, that's crazy.
No, I think that'd be nice. Yeah.
I would want that.
Yeah.
I don't know. So when I don't expect it back, but
Well, I guess I'm asking, what is the perfect level of like relationship with your content that you would want? The perfect, like in your dream scenario, like what is you go on a date, what is someone's relationship to your content?
I think the same one. What I give is what I would want to get. How I want to be treated is how I treat other people. Interest, some level of like, that's amazing.
Right.
You know, good for you. Like, if someone's like living well in New York City, like I would go,
I watch every single, what if they said, I watch every single story you've
that
ever
wouldn't
put
even
up.
like, as long as they were like chill about it. But but again, that would start a different conversation.
Right.
That wouldn't me being like, whoa, what a fucking weirdo. You like my shit? Right. It would be like,
well, what if they were like,
what got you into it?
I actually haven't seen anything you've done, but like, that's so amazing that you're doing it.
That would be cool too.
You're okay with that?
Honest.
Okay.
I've never seen anything you've done, but like, I just went and watched a few videos before we went on this date.
Right.
It was really funny. What got you into this?
Okay.
I've seen your work. I think it's great. I've heard about it from so many places. I haven't been to your restaurant, but I know that it's a thing and that people love it, and I've been wanting to go.
Right.
Like, I don't think that's a mean thing.
That's the classy way to do it.
I don't know. I like to think I'm classy, but then I go on these podcasts and, you know, you read comments about yourself and you hear about how fucked up you are, and you're like, I guess I'm a fucking idiot. You know, like I
mean, who's worse? You, the fucking idiot, or the person who spends their time writing the comment about you being a fucking idiot?
I don't even want to go down that road.
I don't know. I'm just saying. At least one person's making money off of you being an idiot.
I don't know. The dating stuff, I feel kind of lost with it.
Why don't you take a little break?
I feel like I'm on a break.
It's the end of the year?
It's the end of the year. I haven't really hooked up in a while.
Okay.
That's I think that's affecting me a little bit. I've been thinking about that too.
Is that why don't you just hook up with someone?
They have to say yes.
I know.
It has to be, for me, it has to be the right situation. I have to feel comfortable. I
you're
have to
not like hurting them in some way.
Right. I want to know that we both don't give a shit.
Right.
Then we can give a shit.
Yeah.
I also had this happen. I wanted to talk to you about this.
Okay, let's hear it.
And I just remembered. This might sound sad. I'm trying to
trigger warning. This might sound sad.
No, this is a trigger warning.
Okay.
I went to the hospital to get tests because I'm turning 40. Maybe this is the age thing.
Are you having a midlife crisis?
This is it.
Okay. Let's hear it.
You're watching it live on YouTube. You better fucking subscribe.
Seriously. Tell a friend.
And then we'll get into the emails.
Yes.
We'll jump right in a second. We're deep into this episode.
I have no idea how much time has gone by.
I go to the hospital to get this calcium scan. You have to get. My dad had a heart attack at 40. My grandfather died of a stroke. I think heart disease runs in the family. So when you're around this age, they say you got to get a picture of your heart to see if there's buildup.
Okay, like an MRI. It's
like a CAT scan. It took like 10 minutes.
Okay,
but I take cholesterol medication for now a few years now. I go to the cardiologist to get tested. They're like, you got to go do this test. So I have to go to NYU Langone.
Okay.
In the city. I go to the hospital.
Uptown.
I took the subway.
Wow.
Like one of you. So
no one recognized you.
Someone came up to me. They're like, I think I recognize
I love the subway. Everyone talks so much shit about it.
I'm a big subway. I like the subway as well. I get insulted when people are like, you take the subway. Do I seem like I'm
Bloomberg takes the subway.
I assume everyone in New York takes the subway.
I take the subway.
I don't take it every day because I don't need to.
Yeah.
I can walk here.
To me, I prefer that to an Uber. Unless my shoes or there's a weather issue or the shoe issue, I'm taking the subway.
Absolutely. And I will even say, you want to get into the privilege, not privilege of it all. I'm probably in the most privileged subway area. So, but I do it and I go, getting some steps. Like that's a privileged point of view. I understand that. Like I understand that if someone's taking it from Bushwick every day and fighting through fucking people, they're like, fuck this subway.
Right.
So fine. Took the subway up to the hospital and I was like very much like alone taking these tests for my heart.
Wouldn't you be alone anyway?
Well, I'd be alone, but I kept thinking of like...
You're the kind of guy who would bring your wife to get the tests?
No, I would get texts from a wife.
Okay.
Like, how did the tests go? Like,
okay.
you know what I mean?
You want
like
someone to tell about the tests.
I had someone to tell about the tests. I was like, I have no one to even like...
Tell me about the tests.
Okay, I'll text you. Thank you.
Especially if they're bad. Like,
I started... If they're bad, you'll know. We got to take a week off from the podcast.
Okay.
Go get my heart cleaned out. No, but I was thinking of...
How were the tests?
We don't know yet. I got to go back to the doctor. But I was thinking of women... I started to become a feminist in that moment. I was thinking of women doing the eggs thing. Mm-hmm. And I keep seeing these TikToks of women with the egg journey.
Going alone?
And going alone.
Freezing their eggs.
Freezing their eggs.
Yeah, the egg thing.
I'm the only straight guy you got talking openly about this shit.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
I was thinking of the freezing the egg thing. And whenever I see those like TikTokers making their like...
Well, they're freezing the eggs because they are alone.
But that was the thing. I was like, man, that must be difficult. I actually had like a moment where I was like...
Especially if it doesn't go well, I think.
If it doesn't go well, you're going to do something that you can't go with your parents to get your eggs frozen. Like... That's not like just the whole process of going to a hospital with this nobody else in mind. I don't know. I had a moment of like, I wasn't pitying, but like, I hope
you felt a little sad.
I felt sad because I was like, this is nothing for me. Like I'm going to the hospital to get my heart checked. It's whatever.
So you felt sad for women, not for you.
Yes.
Okay.
I actually had a moment of like how difficult, I never thought, and again, this is the time of year. This is cold. It's December. But we hear from women who are like, and I always said, freeze the eggs. Like, yeah, that's good for you, like powerful. But I never thought of how mentally that would affect someone because you're doing this and it's hopeful to do it because you're hoping to meet someone that you can share this with.
Yes.
But you're doing it because you're alone.
Yes.
And you can't go with your parents, like you're in your 30s generally, or late 20s, whatever it is. And I'm like, it's just you're face to face. And this is like for single people out there when they're like, we have guests on, we have Mel Robbins is coming on to be a motivational speaker. She's going to hype you up. I don't think Mel, if you go listen to that episode, has an understanding of the day-to-day.
It's not out yet.
It's not out yet, but it will come out. We just taped it. I don't think if I'm to give feedback to that episode coming away from it, she has understandings of the day-to-day highs and lows emotionally of just being single. Mm-hmm. And I think that's hard for people to understand.
Yeah.
And this is one of those moments where I was like, I just was thinking, I don't know why my head went there. I think because I was in a hospital and I would never go to a hospital. I think women go to the doctor way more than men do.
Maybe.
Every woman I've ever dated like has a first name basis with their doctor. Like I go into an alley and meet with some fucking, cat. And they scratch my balls. But I'm just saying, like, I did have a...
No, I think that's an accurate assessment. Like, I mean, it's like anything else. Like, you could look at it as empowering, or you could look at it as like a little sad.
Right.
I think most things are both.
Right.
And
it's how you choose to look at it, but
it's how you choose to look at it. But also, like, you could have multiple feelings about the same thing. Like, even about being single, I'm sure you have multiple feelings about being single. Like, some days you're probably on. When you're going to this, when you yourself are going to this doctor, the only reason you're feeling bad for these women is because you're kind of like feeling it a little bit at yourself.
Of course,
right?
Of course.
That doesn't mean you're like so sad about being single, but I do think I think that's almost like the issue with things is like we feel like the need to like assign one emotion, like to place it somewhere because that feels more comfortable, like the state of your life in some way. And it's kind of like different days, you feel different things.
Right.
So even someone freezing their eggs, it's like some days you're like, this is so empowering. This is great. Like, how amazing to live in a time where you can do this. And I'm setting myself up for future success. And then a different day, you're probably like, this fucking sucks that I have to do this. Like, this is so unfair that I have to do this. And this other person who's with their college boyfriend didn't have to do this. Or this other person whose boyfriend didn't break up with them at 32 didn't have to do this. And like, this fucking sucks. And like, I think you could be the same person and feel both of those ways in different moments of your day, even maybe.
Totally. I guess from dumb idiot buffoon Jared straight idiot dude perspective, I only saw it as like, good, you can go and fucking, whatever. And then I never saw it as like a lonely venture. Yeah. As much as I saw it. And I was just, I don't know. I was like, I got to talk to Jordana about this. I felt like this was like a good venue.
Yeah, I mean, I've frozen my embryos, but I haven't done it as a single person, so I don't fully know how that feels like. But I can imagine, and I think, again, like, especially if it's probably not going well, I think that, like, that in doing that alone would feel, like, especially isolating.
Right. Well, let's go to the emails.
Let's do the But also empowering, so...
No, it's all things. Yeah. It's all things. Yes. I think that's the beauty of this podcast.
50 minutes in, should we jump right in?
Let's just jump right in.
Yeah, let's just do it. All right, well...
What are we talking about today?
Let's do some emails. I'll read the first one. Hi, J&J, longtime listener here. I'm writing in with a question I think Jared can definitely relate to. And
just give up.
Freeze your eggs.
You heard me go on and on.
Freeze your eggs. And Jordana, I could really use a woman's perspective too. I'm a 28-year-old woman currently working on my master's, and after finals, I'll be in Florida with my parents for 2 weeks, Boca area, like many other Northeastern Jews.
Okay.
Maybe you can meet up with this person.
I'm there.
This will be my third holiday season in Florida with my parents after being in a long-term relationship prior to 2023. Now I have the dating itch after being in a 6-month relationship for the first half of 2024, and I haven't dated at all since the breakup this past July. I haven't had much time to focus on dating during the semester, which would mean dating apps because meeting someone in the wild is so difficult at school. I would really like to meet someone, and I'm thinking about going on 1 or 2 first dates while in Florida, but I have a few thoughts and concerns. I don't really want to go on a date with someone who lives in Florida. Jared, I know you spend a lot of time there, so have you been in a similar situation where you want to keep the dating game alive but not get too tied down in a city where you wouldn't typically date? How do I approach this without feeling totally weird or out of place? How do I tell someone I'm just looking to get back out there? I feel awkward telling my parents that I'm thinking of dating while we are away. How do I navigate that conversation without making it uncomfortable? Basically, how do I strike the right balance between spending quality time with my family, doing a little schoolwork, and dipping my toes back into the dating pool without overthinking the fact that it's Florida and I don't want to end up dating someone just because it's convenient? Thanks so much for all the laughs and insight. You've made my Wednesday and Friday mornings a lot more enjoyable, a slightly awkward but optimistic batch. I feel like you are the perfect person to answer this question.
Well, I will say to her, I can already see her problem. Her problem is she says I'm slightly awkward but optimistic batch. She's got optimism with rules.
Okay, you're saying true optimism can't have rules?
Yeah, well, I'm just saying without overthinking, I don't want to end up dating someone just because it's convenient. I don't want to end up dating someone in Florida. I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want this. I don't want my parents making me feel uncomfortable. It's all going to be uncomfortable. It's all going to be weird. It's all going to be, you might date someone who's living in Florida. I think, I understand, like, listen, this is why I don't date on the road. Mm-hmm. Where could this go? I'm in my own head. I just like, I have the I don'ts. I'm not optimistic. I'm pessimistic.
So you are her.
I'm her. Okay. But she's calling herself optimistic. So I think, like, to me, she says a lot of, like, battling things. She says, I don't want to be, I want to get I want to get back out there, but I don't want to date someone in Florida. Well, which is it? Right. Like, getting back out there, like, why don't you go on a couple dates and whatever it is? Like, I know that's like a very, woo-woo kind of way to look at it. But, like, I think, like, going on one date, and this is me speaking to myself, doesn't mean you owe anyone anything. You went out to have drinks and get to know someone and have a good time. Right. I think if that's your, like, your speed, your setting.
That's as far as you have to think.
That's why I think it anymore in the future. Just think, I want to go out with a guy or girl, or whatever you're into, feel them touch my leg if it's going well enough for them to touch my leg. Yeah. have that like sexy feeling again, and that's it. That's what I'm looking for. That's the goal.
Yeah. And I think she is lucky she's a woman in this scenario, because I don't think there's many guys who are going to be like, you weren't looking for something long term. Why did you even go on a date with me?
Right. There's no wasting time.
Right.
You're not wasting anyone's time. Again, if you're in Florida, in Boca,
send a pic.
Come meet me in the Avenue in Delray. Like Delray, the Avenue, like for this woman.
What's that?
Delray Beach is fucking amazing. I'll stop being negative, Jared.
Okay.
I was pretty negative. I brought up going to the hospital alone.
not having anyone to send your results to. Yeah.
I got you now, apparently.
You can.
So I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I'll be part of the tourism bureau of Delray. I think everyone, if you have the ability with your boyfriend, girlfriend, or on your own girls trip, that's where you should go for a weekend.
Really?
There is nothing.
I've never been.
Jordana, you would love.
Where do I stay?
The Ray.
The Ray.
There's a hotel called The Ray. They have a rooftop bar. The rooftop's fun. It's lively. There's the beach. It's somewhat public. You can get on it pretty easily.
Can I go with Mike, or is it not that kind of spot?
You should definitely go with Mike.
Okay.
It is for young couples, single people. To me, I've written about this. Miami's Miami. Miami's international. Miami's expensive.
Yes.
Fort Lauderdale.
Miami's sexy.
Sexy. Fort Lauderdale's garbage, Miami. And this is like the chill in between.
Oh, okay.
So
not as pretentious.
There's no pretension. You're going to deal with Northeast Jews. Okay. So if you're used to that energy, then you're already okay. But it's got, the Avenue is the one street that has all the bars on it.
Okay.
And there's
not
like,
a good spot for Kanye, though.
He does not want to be there. But there's like young places. There's older places. A place called Rose's Grocery that's like a really good pizza place. There's just like restaurants to go to, and there's like liveliness. And then there's the sandbar, which is like you can go there during the day, like go on the beach, come off the beach, go to the sandbar. I'm just saying, like, as far as like, you can stay near where you play, near where you beach. It's all there.
How far do you live from
My parents are like 25 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So we drive there all the time. That's where we go to the beach.
Okay.
So, I mean, to this woman, if you can find, I think it's better for her. She wants to get her toe out there. If you have some friends that are down there as well, that's probably a better option than like going on a formalized date based on what she wrote. If a formalized date gets you out of the house, do it. Go hang out in Delray. Like, or go alone to Delray. Like, the Avenue's a pretty populated place. I don't think, I wouldn't go down the side. I'm not saying it's danger. I don't know the dangers, but I do know as a young woman, maybe you're not comfortable. Go on that street, go to a bar. There's like the Seagate Hotel has a great bar with live music going on all the time. I just think like for this person, they're asking a question, then getting too far ahead of what they're asking.
I think it's a good point.
You know, like if I were her, and if you met a guy on Hinge in Florida, hey, what are you looking for? I'm looking to go out and have a good time. Yeah. And get a drink and meet someone new.
Also, I think your parents are going to be like into you going on a date.
They're going to love it.
Most parents aren't like, what do you mean you're going on a date?
Right.
Especially if you're there for 2 weeks, not like you're there for 3 nights and you're not going to dinner.
Right.
Like, there for 2 weeks. I met a guy. I'm gonna grab a drink with a guy. I'll see you after for dinner.
Here's my location. Yeah. I'm taking an Uber.
Yeah.
You know, I just think it's sometimes, again, your words are your spells, as you said. Like, I think their words are their spells. They're like, I'm in Florida.
They're thinking it's weird,
Jews.
so it's gonna be weird.
Right. Like, and it's like, no. Your parents want you out of the fucking house. You're going to the dinner at 6 anyways. Yeah. So you go to a date at 8 o'clock, 8:30.
I agree. Stop trying to control everything. I've met, it's like if you overthink it, then you're not going to actually even do this. None of it's going to actually happen because it's going to all feel so weird.
This is advice to myself as well as this person. Yeah. But I think if they started the date, would this be weird to start the date and go, it's great to meet you. I just want to like be upfront. I live in New York, so I don't know what this is. I just want to go out and have a fun time tonight. Yeah. I think that's like a good way to maybe start the date. That might make you feel
if I heard it from a guy, I might be a little annoyed, but I think a guy would be more okay with it.
Well, a guy would definitely be okay with it. I think as a guy, I'd feel more comfortable saying that to a woman like that. I think the speed of most men or me would be like, that doesn't mean I am not ever seeing you
Right.
as someone that could be.
You might even be more into it because there'd be less of an energy of like.
I think it would put me at ease.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
I actually think this might work in her favor.
Absolutely.
It happens when you least expect it.
You never know. This episode of You Up is brought to you by A24 and their new film, Baby Girl. If you haven't seen the trailer for Baby Girl yet, pause this episode and go watch it right now. Seriously, it's a little not safe for work, but that's sort of the irony. If you can't watch it, here's the rundown. Nicole Kidman is this high-powered New York CEO, and Harris Dickinson is her hot, charming, young new intern. The affair they get swept up in is thrilling, precarious, and undeniably sexy. But it all starts with an awkward encounter.
Jared, I feel like there's this trend. Maybe it's like in movies or anything I'm seeing where like the older woman, younger man seems to be very popular now.
This is a thing. Well, it's like the hard charging woman who never had time for anything else.
Right.
Finally, the sexual
awakening.
Right.
The young man.
The young man means nothing, can go nowhere. He's too young to take seriously. There's no thought of like, again, to our girl in Boca, there's no like, what will this be? It's just young.
Just fun.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, this movie, there's been a lot of press about it.
It's quite
Antonio
sexual.
Banderas is in it as her husband.
Oh, nice.
I don't know why there was a whole thing about how comfortable. There's a lot. I guess there's a lot of sex scenes in this.
Yes.
And
she had some commentary on the sex scenes.
She loved it.
Yes.
Because it was a female director.
Okay.
And she was like, I don't think I could have done it without. I think that I'm not misquoting that the female director of it like made, this is like, I would say this is like for women.
Yeah.
Like when you see those like steamy novels, this is the movie version of it.
For sure. I'm excited to see it.
I am too. Okay. Dear J&J, after the ending of a 7.5-year college sweetheart relationship, I spent a year being single and catching up on adult dating before meeting my most recent ex. During my initial relationship, I discovered an interest in BDSM, though my partner wasn't comfortable with it. I respected his boundaries and we rarely dabbled. I met my most recent ex-partner at a sports bar and we delved into sexual activities without prior discussion to our preferences. I found surprise and excitement in his interests in the dom-sub dynamics, which introduced me to more kinks. Now I am on the dating scene again and have a clearer understanding of my preferences, especially in the bedroom. I'm uncertain about this topic with potential dates, though. There are many misconceptions and judgments about kinks, and as my professional life in Chicago demands a certain image, I'm cautious about being upfront about my kink-positive attitude on dating profiles. Additionally, specialized dating websites catering to kinks don't have a ton of my potential partner types on them. I'm grappling with the timing of discussing my preferences. While I'm hesitant to come across as too forward, I'm unsure if revealing these desires before sex is necessary at all. Is it dishonest to engage in more vanilla sex initially, which I also enjoy, and subtly hit at my preferences, like saying I enjoy being choked occasionally? Alternative, should I opt for a more direct conversation, laying out all my preferences, ripping off the so-called Band-Aid? I tend to take things slower when initiating intimacy with a new partner. I believe the weight and trust being built make it worth it. However, I've noticed partners can be taken aback when I fully reveal my so-called bedroom self. Thus, would it help to add some sort of dating, sort of filter to my dating process with partners? Any suggestions and thoughts would be appreciated. Sincerely, a sticks and stones may break my bones, but chains and whips excite me. Betch.
Okay.
Good for her. Love this email.
Great email.
What do you think of this?
I think, to me, it depends on how pivotal this is to like the person she's looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she says she's dated people who weren't into it, and she's dated people who were even more into it than her, and she like got maybe even more into it. To me, how front and center it is on your profile is a reflection of just how important it is to you.
Right. I can understand though her not wanting it to be on her profile because this is a public thing. She says I have a reputation to upkeep. And again, like this whole thing of like outing people's sexual preferences is sometimes seen as evil, and then sometimes people are like, get them. Right. So like I do think there's some class to, I have these things, I have a preference, I'm looking for someone who can match my energy, but they have to earn that.
Yeah.
So I do understand holding back on it.
No, I understand holding back on it too, but I think like I guess her fear is like I tell it to someone, I get deep into something and then I tell it to someone and then they're like, not for me.
Right. But I think if that's the case, then I don't know if you kind of have to trust, would you have gotten that far with someone like that?
Right.
You know, like I think these things trickle out.
Well, I guess she was with someone originally that was not into it.
He wasn't into it and was surprised by it, right? Is that what she wrote?
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think how like I would, if it were me, how early I would want to know that someone was like very into this.
Like, would it be a deal breaker for you if you find out like that they have this specific thing after? Because I think to me the answer, I'll give my answer
more,
first.
if I'll be honest, it would be more of a deal breaker for me, I think, to see it on the profile, because I would again internalize that as like it is extreme, and maybe this is more because of it would be a man, and maybe there's certain connotations around that. But like to me, it would be like this is so important to this person that I don't know me, who it's not important to at all, if we would be a match. Whereas I think if it were brought up naturally, I think I'd be more likely to find it fine or like be into it or work with it. But I wouldn't necessarily like start with it if it were me dating the person.
I don't think it's something to be and I appreciate they brought up like the app Field, which I've said is like a great app, and what they say is very true. Field is like
might not get as many potential partners, what she's saying. So like there's not the other part of it, maybe the relationship part.
I think Field would be a good option for this person, but I also think I understand what they're saying when they're like, the people feel very different than the kind of where I'm coming from.
Right.
And, you know, some people, they wear their kinks on their sleeves and it's like their whole lifestyle, and they're, you know, they got the dream catcher in the, you know, in the car window. Like they just live that life, and good for them.
Right.
I think that's way more an extreme than people want to make it, because we have to talk about everything these days and have to make everything, you know, you can't generalize, and you have to make everything
or whatever. Yeah.
There's no shame being given. I just think numbers wise, there's less people that live their life that way than this person lives their life.
Well, I think there's more people who are willing to try something than people who are intensely like all about something.
Like most things, is the answer's in the middle. Right. And I think what you're saying is, if I saw it on someone's profile, I would be like, man, they are
into
thirsty.
This thing.
This is like very much right.
And I think that would give me pause.
Totally. And someone wrote to us, what was the thing they wrote to us, that the difference between kink and, didn't we get like a comment? Fetish and kink.
Yes.
And I thought it was such an interesting.
I think one was like you need it to get off.
Right. And the other was that you enjoy it.
Yes.
As part of a whole thing. And it sounds like that's where this person lands. To me, if I were her, I think you kind of like, I think you play this out slowly.
Right. Unless again, unless it's a fetish and like you cannot date someone who doesn't have it, I think that's a different story. Right.
And I think you will find out along the way, but I think it starts with like, she even says, I like vanilla sex too. Okay, good. I think you have to walk before you run with these things. Like I've been with women who have like their own things that they like, and it always started at, and I have things that I like. Like I'm not, you know, beyond getting experimental.
We all have things we like,
Right. So I would say like, I do think you need like the base to be able to get to the toppings, you know, and I think kinks are toppings, the way it was explained to us via that.
To be comfortable.
To be comfortable.
And
right. And she says, I need to be comfortable. So I think like build that first and bring someone into your world. I personally think there's nothing hotter than someone with a plan. Like when someone has their wants and needs, like what she explained, like I have things that I like. I know exactly what my preferences are. I've come to this point in my life where I know what I like. I think that's hot. I think that's attractive. I think the right partner will find whatever you're looking for attractive, just that you have something.
Right.
I agree. What it is, we work through that and we figure it out, the best blend for both of us.
So I think we're in agreement.
Right.
Not on the profile.
Not on the profile.
Bring it up in an organic way once you sort of like establish a sexual
Let
case.
Someone earn that.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I say those words specifically. Like let them earn this.
I would agree. Yeah.
Doorway that you kind of have in the attic, with all your straps.
A mutual earning.
Yes,
too.
it goes both ways.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm for that.
Like, again, I think I would be put off by someone immediately bringing something in before there was like a level of comfort.
I haven't seen the movie yet, but I'm assuming the movie doesn't just start with her pegging her intern.
Right.
You know, so I think they lube up. So
you would imagine.
you would imagine. Hope. So I do think that's like there's a slow burn and she said in her email makes it hotter.
Agreed.
That I think the weight is part of that and makes it hot. But
love it. Well, thank you again to our sponsor, A24 and Baby Girl. This Christmas, get exactly what you want. See Baby Girl in theaters everywhere, December 25th. Just maybe not with the whole family.
Yeah, maybe leave let
parents
Dad
at
watch
home.
that on his own.
Yes. All right, let's do another email. I'll read it.
Let's do it.
Dear J&J, this year I've been on 35 first dates, but who's counting? Experimenting with different strategies based on the person or situation. Sometimes I initiated plans, other times I let them. This sounds like someone who's living a normal life. Like, sometimes I wake up early and sometimes I wake up late.
It's normal until you take out your notebook and go, woke up early.
Yeah, check.
You know, like that's when it becomes
right.
the
count. There's a lot of counting.
The counting of it, yeah.
Sometimes I initiated plans, other times I let them. I tried everything from casual walks to formal dinners, splitting the check on some dates while letting the guy pay on others. Despite consuming and using endless relationship advice through years of singleness, I realized the best approach for my sanity was to do what felt right in the moment. Of those 35 dates, only 4 progressed past the first, 2 beyond 4 dates, and now I'm still seeing one person.
1 out of 35, not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad, actually. I would say
bad.
That seems like okay. We started casually dating in the summer. He's a 38-year-old single dad of 3, and I'm a 32-year-old mom of 1. And both have had serious long-term relationships after our divorces. His laid-back, flexible nature was refreshing, especially since dating as a single parent requires patience and understanding, constantly shifting schedules, canceling plans, and sometimes dealing with straight-up burnout. Our time together has been simple. Home-cooked dinners, fishing trips, great sex, and no pressure to rush things. I wouldn't say fishing trips are that simple. I don't, right? You know, it's not like meet me at the bar. It's like, I don't know.
There's certain parts of the country, Minnesota, like fishing trip is like a thing.
Super cash.
I guess, like ice
if
fishing.
If I went on fishing I feel
trips,
like I'd have to be like engaged to someone before we were like, took the, we're getting
I wouldn't be going
out on the boat all day.
No, it's a lot. Gotta get your galoshes.
Yeah. I'll have to ask Gary the Bachelor, if that's a common Midwest
what's
thing.
going on in Indiana.
I'd been encountering lots of men who were ready for a wife or ready to be a parent, and I often felt like I was being vetted for a role rather than being genuinely known. With him, our connection feels more natural, at least to me. That said, there are stretches where I don't hear from him for weeks. It's never really bothered me since we always easily pick up where we left off. My friends insist I'm stuck in a situationship. I see it differently. In those gaps of times, we are dating other people and going about our lives. I think that's why catching up with him feels great. Always lots to catch up on. I don't need constant FaceTimes or daily check-ins, but my friends' incessant commentary has me questioning if I'm being too relaxed. Am I fooling myself into thinking this is fine, or is it reasonable to date slowly and with less communication than what's now considered normal? This pace works for me, but I'm starting to wonder if it should. Am I just avoiding the responsibility of a relationship, or is it possible to build a connection like this with someone over time? I'm getting to the point that I don't even want to share dating stories with my friends because I constantly feel the pressure to label and categorize everything. J&J, please help. Sincerely, an unsituated betch.
Okay. What do you think about this email?
To me, I think she's getting exactly what she wants right now.
She sounds happy.
Yeah, she sounds happy. I think the people that how old did she say she was? She's 32 with a mom of 1. So I'm assuming most of her friends are like in relationships or married.
Right.
I would just assume. Mm-hmm. And so I can see how this is a relationship they maybe wouldn't understand. But I've always said that dating without, if she already has kids, is sort of like the time to date like a man.
Right.
Which is like, do whatever feels good. Do what you want to do when you want to do it. Mm-hmm. And because there is no time constraint on that.
Right. And yeah, it
seems like she's getting everything she wants.
She's living, and whether she wants to admit it or not, and this sometimes people get like annoyed by this. you're living an you're living in an alternative lifestyle, so to speak. This is not the normal singular family, you know, like, and I think when she hears from her friends who may be in these more traditional, like married, living at home with their kids, and then they hear about you with someone they care about,
right,
who says, well, for a few weeks we haven't talked, but we're going to see each other next week. They're like, what? Haven't talked?
Right.
I talk to my husband every 5 minutes. You know, like to them, this sounds crazy.
Right.
But based on her email, it sounds like it's working for her. You know, like,
yeah.
And again,
it's only a situationship if one person wants more than the other person.
Right.
To me.
Now,
that's what a situationship is.
I agree with you. And if their friends were like, hey, you haven't talked to them in 3 weeks, that's so weird. That would be weird to me too.
Yeah.
If it dawned on you.
I wouldn't say they're like dating.
No, I would say that they're two people who enjoy each other's company.
Yes.
And if I was in that scenario, like from my side, it's either, or from his side, it's on the spectrum of thoughts from him as one, I'm getting away with murder, or this is great. That's the person I lean on when I need an interpersonal connection.
Right. We're both getting the same thing out of this thing. We have similar, like she says, we have similar lifestyles. This works for both of us. We're not thinking kids. About whatever is happening.
Right.
Next.
When we need, and something I referenced in the beginning, like you need the personal touch of someone that you trust and can have a good time with and have a drink with and catch some fish with.
Right.
You know, you get together. But I do understand that takes a lot of trust.
Yes.
And, you know, I think for her, if you feel good, I'm not here to make you feel badly. I think this sounds great. This sounds actually like really wonderful.
Yeah.
That you found each other. I do think if she's wondering, you know, I think letting him know, like, I just got to know that I can trust you. That wouldn't be out of the blue.
What does that mean?
I don't know what it means, but I guess
isn't that a hard question to ask someone without knowing what that means? That would be my question when someone.
When we don't see each other for 3 weeks, do you think of me? Because I think of you, and I don't reach out because I don't want to bother you. You know, like I can understand. I don't want to bother you, but I also, like, if we got together and I found out you didn't want to see me anymore because you like started dating someone else, I would feel a little deceived. Like, I think it takes a level of communication that might be abnormal.
Right. If that's what she wants.
Yeah. She might be dating other people in those 3 weeks too. I don't know.
She said that she is. That
is she?
Didn't she say that they're both dating other people?
I tried everything. No.
She said in those gaps of time, we are dating other people and going about our lives.
Okay.
So she's
so she's living
doing that right.
Again, you know, I want to be treated the way I'm treating you.
Yeah. It seems like her expectations are like the same as his. I think where it becomes an issue is if she's like, and again, the only thing that makes me think that's not necessary, that she does want more, is that she seems to have this sort of calculated approach toward her dating life, which doesn't really go with this, you know, whatever happens thing. When she says, I've been on 35 first dates, 4 progressed past the first 2 beyond our first, that doesn't sound like someone who's doesn't have a goal in mind.
You're absolutely right. The way she got to this guy does not reflect how she's acting with this guy.
Right.
Because the numbers game and, you know, but maybe she did all that number stuff to like get to this comfortable place with someone. I don't know. I can understand that her friends hear her go 35 dates and this is the one that made it. And they're like, made it? You guys are just fucking. You know?
Right. Yeah.
But I think she has to be okay with that being, you know, she can't be offended. Right. Am I in a situation?
Right. Is she saying like, it took me 35 dates and now I have a boyfriend? Like, you know, you don't.
No, you don't.
But like,
right. But
35 days and now you have someone that you consistently can see and you're getting all your needs met in that way. Like, sure.
Right. And if you don't know your goal, they don't know it for you. So I think if you're not sitting there going, well, I want this to be more than this.
Right. She has to figure out what she wants.
Right.
She's like, this is truly working. She's the only one who will know if this is truly working for her.
Right. And what your friends want isn't what you want.
Right.
So I think it takes a sit down of like, wow, I guess I am happy. Right. You know, she might say that to herself.
Or I think I do want actually like a real committed long-term serious relationship.
Yeah.
And only she knows that.
Yeah. It is funny that this email, like, we can't give you an answer other than like, kind of like hear how you sound, but like It is funny, the 35 to be so calculated, then so willy-nilly.
It doesn't really seem to mesh.
No.
So I get that.
Let's play some games. Red flag or deal breaker. We have some really good ones today.
These are great.
These are really good. He has family baggage.
Ooh.
Feather. I am 33 female. Have recently gone out on a few dates with a new guy. 36 male. We met on Bumble, and so far the dates have been good, and we have consistent communication. But he is currently living in a basement apartment at his grandmother's house because she has memory care needs, so he is helping take care of her, and his parents live a few hours away. Meanwhile, his parents have taken in his sister's son because she has substance abuse problems and essentially lost custody of her child. This was obviously a lot of information to receive over 2 dates, and I'm trying to decide if these are red flags I should run from or just take them as normal family issues that he seems to be dealing with. How much should you weigh someone's family baggage in these early days of dating while deciding if this is a relationship you want to pursue? Thanks for all you do. A betch with a boring family. What do you think?
Here's the thing. I think everyone has baggage. I think it's much more about how you approach the baggage. And it's okay to be turned off by things which don't sound good to say you're turned off by.
Fair.
I live with my grandma and I take care of her because she has memory needs is a nice thing to do. But I could see why someone would be like, I'm not looking to date someone who lives with their grandma. I can feel bad for the situation, but it's not necessarily for me. And that's okay.
Right. That's a lifestyle that I'm not signing up for.
Right. Sounds like it sounds shitty to say that.
Right. Easier to do 2 dates in. You know, like this isn't you're married for 2 years and then grandma
gets sick.
and then that's sickness and health. This is a different thing. This is 2 dates.
And it doesn't mean that this person's undateable. It just means it might not be something that you're okay with.
Right. The sister having drug issues and losing custody of the kid, I can understand why that's like you're like, what's going on in this house?
Right.
But if you like him, I don't know how much that has to do.
I agree. Everyone has their own situation that's not his fault. It's not anything that he's like chosen. That's something that seems to like have happened.
Right. I guess when I read this on the list of family baggage that would make someone not date someone, these were like not on the list at all.
Right.
You know, like I kind of was surprised that these are the 2 things that she's like, well, is he the problem? I'm like, is he the problem?
Yeah, neither of these
he's
things
not the
seem
cause
like
of
things
dementia.
that he's done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so, and his parents are taking care of the kid. That must be nice parents. You know, addiction is something nobody is beyond. You know, like so.
And you have your own shit too.
Right.
That's for the boring family.
Is this a deal breaker? Not for me. I understand, but I agree with you. Like, I can't tell you what turns you on or turns you off. Like, it is something he's dealing with. If it's 2 dates and he's already told you all this, then this is important to him. Yeah. This is something that's going to come up. If it's coming up on day 2, it's going to come up on day 10. So
yeah, well, he's being upfront with you. He's not trying to pretend he's someone that he isn't. But it's also, again, it's okay if that's just not the situation you're looking for. That doesn't mean like you're a bad person. But also, I don't think that like this wouldn't be a deal breaker for me necessarily.
In a hypothetical world, it's not a deal breaker. If I was in it,
I would have a lot more questions.
Right.
I think, especially about the part that actually is affecting him on a day-to-day basis, which is the fact that he lives with his grandma. I think I'd have more questions about, like how he came to be the caretaker, like how he sees this kind of playing out.
Does she wander downstairs when she hears someone moaning?
I want to know all of it.
Right. I want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Let's do another.
All right. Hi, J&J, longtime listener, and have a group chat with my friends where we discuss weekly episodes. I love that.
Love it.
Today, I brought to them my own red flag or deal breaker that they thought would be best solved by the experts. So here we go. That means that's someone who doesn't want to tell you the truth. Why don't you ask Jared and Jordana what they think?
Sounds cool.
I moved in with my boyfriend.
Oh, my God.
I moved in with my boyfriend roughly 6 months ago. He has a cat who he's had for the past 6 years who I got along well with when we lived separately. Something changed with the cat after I moved in, as she now hates me. Legit, I can't walk around the apartment or even be in the same room with her without her biting and scratching my legs or chasing me across the room.
Women.
That's the cat's boyfriend.
Yeah, right.
We've already tried so many different remedies for her behavior. Calming diffusers, training, treats. And now we have given up and just put her in a separate room whenever I'm home, which doesn't seem very fair to her. But it's also not fair for me to be living in a home where I'm scared of getting a surprise attack at any second. No. This reminds me of, there's something about Mary with the dog.
Oh, yeah.
The dog attacks, like, when they have to
Attacks
drug
Ben
it.
Stiller, yeah.
He is very attached to the cat, and there's no chance he would get rid of her. At what point does this become a deal breaker? We have a great relationship that seems silly to end over a cat. I think you have both mentioned that you're not cat people, but if you look at it objectively, would love to hear your thoughts. Sincerely, Demon Cat's roommate.
I don't have a cat. I've seen cats that I like. I've seen cats that I don't like. But what do you think?
I think if the boyfriend wouldn't get rid of the cat, that's a deal breaker. To me, personally.
Really?
You have a cat that attacks people. Right. Forget like her. Like you have a cat that when someone comes into your home, the cat attacks them.
Well, not until they moved in. She took over her space. There's got to be a cat whisperer that they can call.
Maybe. I don't know.
That, like,
to me, it's like sometimes animals like behave like in a crazy different way. Like Sammy was just talking about this on like her dog started randomly attacking like the other dogs and like
really.
And she had to like rehome the dog.
Really?
Yeah.
Like she doesn't have the dog anymore?
Not one of she has 3 dogs now. So now she only has 2.
She has 3 dogs?
She had 3 dogs. Now she has 2.
And one of them was just fighting with everybody.
Yeah, it was like attacking the other dogs like viciously. But I'm kind of like it's not his son.
Right.
And I understand that like some people might come for me, but it's also like you have a girlfriend. This is like who's moving in with you. This is your priority. You got to figure out the cat situation, or you need to get rid of the cat.
I'm with her.
I'm not spending my life like hiding from a thing that's gonna randomly like claw at me when we're
living on edge. Yeah. No, it's not. It doesn't sound like a comfortable way to live. I will say that. They said they're trying diffusers and calmers or whatever. Yeah, it seems like he's trying. I think like on the list has to be like, we have to move this cat somewhere else. It's me or the cat.
That's my thought.
I guess I never thought of it that down the road. Like there's a point where like you're living there. Maybe it's a new home. If they're renting, maybe the home wouldn't feel as territorial.
Again, I don't know that much about like how to figure this situation out, but I would just say if it couldn't be figured out,
there's one way to figure it out.
There's one creature that needs to go, and it wouldn't be me in a healthy relationship.
Candace, you have something to say?
I don't know about a cat whisperer, but there are like animal behavior
Caesar
specialists.
Milan?
Sure, try it all.
People don't like him because he is a bit aggressive with training. Yeah. So I think people don't do that anymore. But he's still famous, whatever. But yeah, you can like, it just sounds like they're buying products, but I don't know if they went to like their vet to ask if the cat's okay or something.
There's other steps, but
there's professionals that you can like reach out to. Dogs aren't the only ones that get trained. Cats can be trained.
No,
too.
I hear.
Sure. I'm all for trying. Whatever. I'm not like fuck it. Like don't try. But
there's the end of the attempts is get rid of the cat.
Yes.
Of the other attempts.
I mean, to me, the solution isn't. Well, we'll just put the cat in the room for the rest of the cat's life. And if you have to go to that room, you just put on your protective goggles and all this stuff.
They're eating dinner with goggles on.
To me, I
watch your eyes.
Respect having a pet that you love and care for, but like human over pet.
Right. And this is your relationship. You've moved in together. You're making a life together. Maybe you guys get a new cat together. If this is,
perhaps.
Again, we're a couple steps away, but we're close to getting rid of this cat.
Yeah, but I mean, do everything you can do. Sure, like give it a try, but like at the end of the day,
right? If he doesn't want to go to that level,
you're broke because of all the money you've spent trying to get this cat to not attack you.
Cat's always.
I mean, what do you if you want a girlfriend?
I would never go over there. No, there's no way.
You're moving in, yeah.
I moved in. And I was living in fear.
Right, you would say like, I'm not moving in unless you get rid of the cat.
Get rid of that cat.
All right.
Garfield's gone.
It's over.
J&J and Candace. Big fan of the pod. I've been a paid subscriber for a few years, and you helped me through some tough dating times. Well, thank you. I have a lovely boyfriend now, and I definitely credit your humor and wisdom in helping me find a relationship I feel good in. I have a red flag or deal breaker for you. Now let's break them up. I was seeing this guy a few years ago who was, let's just say, on the crunchy granola side. He was a vegan and was very opposed to any sort of killing animals. Unfortunately, we lived in New York, and as we know, roaches are everywhere. So yes, as a vegan, he refused to kill roaches or even hire an exterminator to stop the problem from even starting.
Where does this guy live?
How many roaches do they have? In the next few months, in the few months we dated, I only stayed at his place a few times because it was literally crawling with roaches. I'm talking
a few times?
Yeah, you went back. I'm talking roaches in the shower, on the sink, around the toilet, and in his room. He would sometimes go into the bathroom ahead of me with a speaker for the noise to scare all the roaches can hear? This is crazy.
This is horrible.
Scare all the roaches away so I could take a shower or use the bathroom.
This is the same thing as the cat story. This is the same thing as the cat.
You gotta use the bathroom? Hold on. Let me get rid of the roaches. That's great. Yeah, it is the same. One time we were having sex, I looked up and saw a roach crawling across the ceiling along the bed headboard.
Ew.
Oh my God, let's just say the moment was ruined. I was horrified, but alas, I still kept seeing him for a few months against all of my friends' better judgment. I didn't have a lot of self-respect at the time. Yikes. So red flag or deal breaker, he won't deal with or kill roaches in his apartment because he's a vegan. Thanks for everything you do. Sincerely, a bugging out bitch.
No, I'd be out. This guy needs to move if he doesn't want to kill the roaches. You can't just, we're just going to live among roaches for the rest of our lives?
It is hard for me to be with anyone who lives their life this way.
I can understand you don't want to kill roaches. Fine. Move.
Right.
You can't have it all.
Right.
You can't have it all. You can't be an anti-exterminator, killing the roaches yourself. And also the solution can't be we live among the roaches.
We're roach people now.
Yes. No. You don't want, there's other solutions. He's not trying to find any of them. Another solution is to move. Not every apartment has roaches.
I just love the idea.
Right?
It's...
Does your apartment have roaches everywhere?
No, I don't think so. I just love the idea that he's like, okay, let's take a shower. He's like, okay, before we go in the shower, let me take care of that for you.
And then you'll have it blaring the entire time you're in there.
He can't do it that low, though. I looked it up. Roaches cannot hear. It's the vibrations.
It's the vibrations? Okay, we'll do this one. No, that's not it. All right. No, deal breaker.
Deal breaker.
Get out of here, Roachy.
All right, well, we did it.
We did it.
We solved dating.
Back next week. Boom.
Bye. The U Up Podcast is produced by Belle Roman and Candice Maniga. Edited by Belle Roman. Social media by Candice Maniga. Guest booking by Ali Friedlander. VP of Podcast is Chris Allen. And be sure to follow You Up at u.up.podcast.